Always spoke with purpose. I'ma speak my mind until they close the curtains. Look deep inside before you judge the surface. Look in my eyes and read between the lines. My soul is searching. Chosen, gotta focus. They notice. Tonya, Keona, and Monique. Action, no bragging, no boasting. Facts with no capping. They hold it down. Envision these words and use them as power. The enemy lurking. I'm calling my spirit, and if it can hear me, it's spoken with purpose.
All right, welcome back to another show with the women podcast. As y'all already know, we SWP, that means Spoken with Purpose. And I am, well, you know what, I done forgot telling y'all about what we talk about here. And that's basically anything where you feeling like you talking to your neighbor, your homegirl, your auntie, about any and everything in the world, where it's no non-judgmental zone. And definitely we're not trying to impose and make you conform here. But y'all already know, I'm your host, Tonya.
And I'm your host, Keona.
And I'm your girl, Monique.
Baby.
I am the woman behind the women, Natasha.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. So, Keona, let's go get into the day.
All right, Al. So, our topic today or tonight is the battle between the generations. And the subtitle is Differences in the Generations. That's it. Was that it?
So we talking about
Is that
the 70s.
it?
Yeah, that's it, ain't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thought you
y'all-
did something wrong?
Yeah, because y'all looking at me like I said
Really?
something wrong.
I
Something
thought you was
like-
going to keep going.
Yeah, I thought you were
Oh,
finna say
okay.
something else.
What I did, because I did kind of go over, I kind of looked up something. And I wanted to see I wanted you guys to know what your generation is called. So, baby boomers were born from 1946 to 1964. That's between 54.
Baby.
That's what they call baby boomers. Between
From the
54.
40s to the 60s?
Yeah, 46 to 64. Say 54 to 72 years old. And then Generation X was born 1965 to 1980. And that's the ages 38 to 53. Millenniums was born 1981 to 1996. That's 22 to 37. And the post-millenniums, which is right now, present, is 1997 to present. That's 0 to 21 years old.
Gotcha.
So you kind of know where we at with this age range with generations.
So where we at? I'm just trying to figure out what group we in.
Where y'all at?
Where y'all?
I'm with the millenniums.
You with the millennials?
I was finna make a joke.
You
where y'all
Generation
at.
X or millenniums?
What I am? Oh, I'm post-millenniums.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. So y'all tell me the difference in the baby boomers, Generation X, millenniums, and the post-millenniums.
Yeah. That's a lot of different generations, pretty much. All right, we wanted to have this conversation because clearly you know that there's differences in the generations. And I realized that these differences, they cause a little bit of judgment, if you will, because of the differences. I feel like we should have this conversation so maybe it could kind of shed some light to see it from a different perspective of the generations, if you will. But some of it, I wasn't expecting some of the other generations, so I thought what I could come from where I could come.
Which one you weren't expecting? Baby boomers? That's the generation right before
No,
us.
I was expecting them old people, so yeah.
Not the old people.
Sorry.
That's the generation right before us, and then we, of course, was going to talk about the generation right
Under
underneath
us.
us.
Yeah,
so the
I
only
was
one
thinking
is
about
the
the ones,
post
yeah,
is
yeah.
the ones that's right now.
Yeah.
We really don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Know too much about them little jokers.
So, my first question is, do you guys think generations are getting worse, or is it equally the same?
Worse.
Explain.
I think there's a difference in how we were raised as I can't say everyone, because a lot of people that were brought up around y'all time, they brought their kids up the same way. I think that, I don't know if it's society, I don't know if it's technology, what changes, or and then it could be the laws too, because a lot of stuff that wasn't okay, or that was okay back in the day, is not okay now. So they feel like they can
Take advantage of it.
yeah, they feel like they can take advantage of the way they were brought up.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff has changed when it comes to, in the schools. I don't know if y'all remember, but I remember when when school first started, you know how they send home the papers for your parents and stuff?
Yeah.
They used to send a paper home. Like when I was in like elementary, they used to send a paper home that used to ask your parent for permission to paddle you in school. And my grandma happily signed that.
Serious?
Yeah. Altamont Elementary.
Oh my goodness! Hello.
Yeah, Altamont Elementary. They used to
Lovely
send that
surprise.
home, and I don't know what I did one time, but I never forget. I got in trouble, and I got sent to the principal office,
And they
and
paddled you.
he hit me with the paddle, about this thick.
So you must be with the
Post
The
post
baby
millennium.
boomers.
You heard what I said when we first
when
started
you
this
was
shit.
getting the other sent home the request to get a paddle.
But no,
No,
not
they
only that.
did.
I remember.
They did.
You remember that?
In Millway. This is the only school that I seen it in Millway. They sent
They did it
was
in
an
Millway
option.
too?
Yeah, I didn't see it anywhere else but Millway. But Millway did slip that little paper in that my mama politely rejected.
Yeah, and I think I thought like by that time they had
Hey,
stopped.
viewers.
I thought they stopped.
And
But
audience.
then they used to also the neighborhood that we grew up in, we get in trouble at school. Like I lived on the street where I had aunts and uncles. I had to walk past their house to
Yeah.
get to my house. And then not even a family member that stayed like right in the, across the street from me. So I got it from the time I left school,
Yeah.
going home, from everybody. And then when I got home to my grandma, I had to get it again.
Yeah.
So it was different because the neighborhood and everybody cared, like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody cared about what your child was doing. Like if you skipped or you getting out the windows, I'm telling on myself. When you know what I'm saying, you doing stuff like that. People in the neighborhood
was
cared. They would tell, like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm seeing old Nikki getting out that window back there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
blind ass. Ain't nobody told you to be looking over here.
Exactly. But you don't think that because a lot of I realize, I don't know as far as to which generation it will pertain to, but people trying to mind their own business, man. People been getting knocked out by other people's business. You know what I'm saying? About stepping over in other people's business. So I definitely remember what Monique said as far as to being able to be corrected, definitely by your family members and also the neighborly thing. It was more like it takes a village to raise a
Right.
child. Everybody else is like, let me tend to my own lane and you tend to yours. Touching my kid, we got a problem. So I do see that is definitely a change within the generation. And the paddling, I just said my mama rejected. I didn't get whoopings. I probably got like 2 whoopings. And I think them 2 whoopings came from my papa.
Your papa whoop you?
Yeah. My papa whooped me. Your papa whooped you. Like the movie Color Purple. Your papa whooped you? Yeah.
I think a lot of within the generations, a lot of morals have changed. Like there was stuff that we was loyal to, like for each other. And that's completely going out the window now.
Yeah. I think there's, I didn't mean to cut you. Are you finished?
You go ahead.
As far as so on a loyalty level, you would think that it would be a personal thing, and I don't know where it would come from because we was definitely loyal. I still have a sense of loyalty to my inner circle, but I have a sense, I won't say loyalty, but I got some lines in the sand as far as to just things I just wouldn't do in general. But they don't even have friends anymore. Like they don't even consider each other friends. So I mean, if they don't consider you a friend, then they don't
How
have
can they be
anyone to
loyal?
be loyal to. I could do whatever I want to. So we can't really fault them if they don't consider them a friend, is what I'm saying. How can you fault somebody if they're not a
And then
friend?
there are some that actually consider friends,
Yeah.
but they just don't have those, like you said,
Yeah,
lines
no
in the
boundaries.
sand. There's no morals, you know what I'm saying? They don't have those lines in the sand that they won't not cross, you
Yeah.
know, they messing with your man. They don't care. You know, they'll come back and tell you that they mess with your man. It's just certain things that are being done that, you know what I'm saying, wasn't being done back, you know, as we were growing up.
I don't know if it wasn't being done, but we wasn't hear about it.
I'm talking about in our inner circle. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? As far as
absolutely.
what we would, you know, do in the event that, you know what I'm saying, things was presented to us in that way. And that's
Yeah.
how we became and stayed friends for so long. We would, of course, let you know what I'm saying, what was going on, you know, speak on it. You know? And that's another thing, you know, a lot of times they're not communicating with one another. You know what I'm saying? They're not really letting each other know what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on with so-and-so doing this behind your back, or, you know what I'm saying, just being open and communicating with one another. That's friendship. And that's loyalty.
I guess holding each other accountable. Because we did have some randomly we knew who was messy. You know, because I think even in every generation, even in some circles, you still have you might have that one messy nigga, you might have that one messy one messy dude, or you might have that one messy chick, but everybody knew who she was. Everybody knew who he was. So, you know, we ain't gonna say it was okay, but you knew.
It was one, though.
Definitely wasn't everybody.
Because now these days, it's damn near everybody. It's like every man for himself now.
Yeah. I agree.
That's crazy.
And then I think we were kind of forced to be like that. We were forced to be close because, first of all, we were forced to go outside. Yeah. And when you outside, you have no choice but to make friends and play with, you know, the rest of the people out there. And then you can't come back in the house until it's time to come in the house. And then you really didn't want to anyway. You know what I'm saying? You get thirsty, you go get the water hose, drink your water. We out there playing games. Yeah, we playing all kind of games, climbing trees, throwing
walk from one side of the track to the next. They nothing stop. Nothing stop this show. Nothing.
We walked. Say that again.
We walked.
Everywhere.
W-A-L-K.
And I think that got a lot to do with the way that a lot of these this generation is now, you know, more healthier or bigger, you know what I'm saying, because they are not as active, physically active. You know, they stay in the house. They're on social media. They don't really do anything. Yeah. When we was out and about, we was in parades. We was, you know, stepping. We was walking across the track. We were just so active. We was very, you know, small in stature. Yeah. And these days, I be looking at some of the generation. I be like, God, no.
Never go outside.
No, they just like totally. They're just a different build. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have that. We didn't have that build. We was always so little and tiny and frame and stuff, and it's just different. I just see it as being a different, you know, thing.
Cause we did have some because everybody was skinny. Everyone was skinny, but even because you had some, I'm saying even the chicks who were not skinny, we had unskinny chicks, if that makes sense.
But they still did the same thing we did.
That's what point I'm trying to make is that they were still out there actively. You tend to see this generation kind of not even on the scene at all, or what they do is definitely not what we do. They're kind of on the computers and they ain't really they ain't doing nothing actively moving, if you will. Because we did have some not so skinny people, but they was definitely rocking and rolling with us.
So would you say it's our fault?
What?
Who fault?
Our fault. Like I'm saying, as far as our kids and because we're not responsible for, you know, all generation, but
our kids
for when it comes to our kids and our family members, do you think it's our fault because we were raised completely different? And
I would think you would need to narrow it down as far as to what you mean. Okay, how about this? Because when I noticed that my Uncle Brother was cooking some fish at the church the other day, right? Yesterday. And I just stopped by to make sure that I swang through. Make sure that you kind of pay your respects. And see Unc out there, you got to stop by because he out there cooking. And as I sat out there, they went to talking about certain things. And I was like, dang, this got something to do with the topic that we're talking tomorrow. He was talking about it's crazy because not our generation, but the one that came before us, they were the ones that were out there helping prepare, getting stuff ready, selling the junk, cooking the junk. But then when they came, they was even talking about us, you know. We ain't out there, and plus the generation behind us wasn't out there. But, you know, I had to stick up for our generation because when my grandmother called us, we on the scene. So it started to divide anyway. anywhere. You may have had some people in our generation where their mom didn't hold them accountable or their grandparents didn't hold them accountable, but clearly we had some people that held us accountable, that we got to make sure that we be on the scene. You ain't got to go stay at grandma's house for 3 hours, but you definitely need to swing through and speak to your grandma every now and again. You need to swing through, go talk to your people every now and again. My kids barely even know some of their darn family members, and I'm like, you just got to be kidding me. So we do.
So why do you take
some,
them?
I just said we do have to take some of the responsibility in regards to them not knowing, and sometimes we just get busy. As far as the one to get away. So, and I think that us wanting to get away from some of the stuff that we don't necessarily like, or we think we need to grow from, if you will. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't the people who you like this with, then you won't really care too much about going outside your way to go show them everybody else, to be honest.
But see, when we were coming up, we didn't have that option.
Yeah,
whether you was like this with them or not, that was
but it's being done.
It was like unspoken. That's what you do. You do it regardless. Mm-hmm. And I think that because our kids, I'm gonna use them for example. Our kids grew up together, so when we were when we were raising our kids up, we were teaching them the same way that we were taught. Like, y'all get together, y'all look out for each other. One swing, everybody swing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was just like this. Everybody was just close the way we were when we came up. Right. But like, what changed?
That still was with us. Do you not know that we still have family members who feel left out? We have some of the women who are our age that still feel like they were not a part of this closeness that they hear the people who were close. They was like, well, dang, we family members was in that same.
If they felt like that, it's because they didn't come around.
I don't know if I fully agree with that, because I don't think the invitation was always extended. I think once you
when it came to me, it was. And I've always been, anytime I have anything, I invite everybody.
Oh, I'm not saying that
cousins,
you
y'all
didn't
don't even know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Going back to your question, I'm sorry. I guess I'm trying to understand what you're saying. What changed with what? Like,
when it came to, when we were raising our kids, we raised them the same way that we were brought up, the same way our parents were brought up, that closeness. So what changed it? Because I don't think it was us. I think it was when they got to a certain age. And I think it was stuff that was going on within society, and I don't know. I don't know where it stopped or where it changed for them, but it definitely changed. They start thinking that, you know what I'm saying, they're better. Like, I don't think we've ever thought that we were better than the next cousin, or, you know what I'm saying? We never look down on but they do.
Yeah. You think it's I think it is a little bit of that. I do. I gotta say, I agree.
You say it's distance?
Mm-hmm.
You think that's what it is? So that will make someone start acting like they're better than you because we're distant from each other? Where you going? Come on, you need to come to the microphone. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
So going back, Hennessy had a comment when she said she got paddled. So when you guys were talking about the meal week, she did get paddled at meal week by Mr. Perry.
Yeah.
And Julia says that they no longer respect their elders.
Right.
Keisha also made a comment when we were talking about it was hoes in all those generations, but nowadays they will tell you.
Yeah.
Going back again, a comment from Lakeisha says, in our generation, the fat kids were lazy. Now they're just fat and lazy. John also says he likes to see strong black women doing their thing. I think Keela is making a comment. I think she was responding to what we were saying. We spread out. Everybody relocated.
Yeah.
But even when we spread out too, though, even when we spread it out, it still was love. It's still, if I come in town, I'm coming to see you. You coming to see me. Like, y'all don't do that. Y'all, it's only certain ones. I'm not going to say y'all, because it's only certain ones that you will. And that's only because the mind frames change. They start like I said, acting like they're better than the other one, or, you know what I'm saying, that one is beneath me, and, you know what I'm saying, this one, she do this, and I don't agree with that. So I didn't give a damn what y'all did, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's more or less someone made. I think it's because I think it was a pinpoint. I don't think if anyone ever felt like they were better than anyone, but I think that they always felt like someone may have felt like they were better than them, so they just didn't reach out for that reason. I don't think anybody actually had the mentality of they're better than, but they definitely.
You talking about us or
assumed-
them?
I'm talking about their generation.
oh no,
Just
that's,
looking at it
that's
from-
not true.
So somebody told you that you think that someone in that generation told them that they were better than them?
No, they didn't tell them.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
they
So
started
there was
acting like that.
That's what I'm saying. They perceived, they thought that they carried themselves or portrayed themselves if they were better, but definitely nobody never said I'm better than y'all. Ain't over there talking to y'all.
It was a perception.
Yeah, it's the perception. I think that, but at the end of the day, I think everybody can. That's something easily squashed. You know what I'm saying? And you can
Not when
always
that's your
gather.
mind frame. That's how they are. And I'm a firm believer on when somebody show you who they are, believe them. And so if this is who they are now, I don't think that's something that could just be squashed.
But nobody said it. Is what I'm saying. Nobody's physically said that I'm better than you. So you can only assume.
Tonya, let's not act like you don't understand or know what
I know
goes
what you're
on
saying, but I'm saying
with
nobody
our
never
kids
said.
and you know what I'm saying, the people under us. And that is
And the reason why I'm saying that is
Naisha,
that's what I'm saying. The reason why I'm saying
come to
that
the
is because
microphone. Can you contest that you don't talk to certain family members because of what?
just speak what you feel, not what we feel.
That's fine.
I don't know. I talk
Make
to
sure you're speaking
everybody.
to-
I feel
yeah.
like I talk to everybody. Like I said before, I feel like distance is probably what was the biggest thing for everybody. Like all of us kind of just sort of went our separate ways when we got to a certain age. And even before then, like when y'all moved to New York, we stayed here. Well, we didn't really stay here. We moved to like Mount Dora or whatever. Like all of us, we kind of just split up, but we always stayed in touch. Like it wasn't necessarily like oh, I feel like this person better than me, or I feel like I'm better than this person type thing. Like it kind of just, I don't know, we just went our separate ways. But like they were saying, like I feel like it's perception, because I don't really feel like I ever felt like somebody was better than me, or I don't feel like I feel like I was better than somebody else, especially not my cousins. Like we all supposed to win and eat together, so it's like why would I feel that way, especially like towards somebody in my family? So
Yeah, that's good that you feel that way, but that's just not how I'm just saying, because I've heard conversations. So I know that everyone does not think like that, and I wish they did, Naisha.
I'm a family oriented person.
That's because we family oriented. Look, it's because we are. But I agree. But some of the other stuff that was pointed out while I was out there with my Uncle Brother, like they was talking about like growing up and calling people ma'am. Like the ma'am has become so distant. So you see more or less our generation, and definitely the people kind of upward. I mean, normally we calling them the ma'ams, but that's normally where it came from, is ma'am this or
That's definitely dropped.
definitely. They don't really do it
dropped
anymore.
that. They definitely dropped
Or
a lot of
referring
the-
to people as their first names. Like, where did that come from?
I just don't play that. Not, with mine, I don't. They
ain't finna-
still yes ma'am, no ma'am, and you would better not never call nobody Trisha.
And I
What?
think this generation is just stuck in their ways. You not finna tell me, you know what I'm saying, what to do, what to say, how to say it, just because that worked for y'all back then, that ain't working for us now. You know, pretty much. It's not so much that it's not being said in our generation, they don't hear us saying it. It's just that, so what, because y'all said I ain't got to say it.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how I feel like that. You can't change me. I'm not going to change. And it become, I think, with, I was thinking about this topic the other night, and it's even with religion. You know, if you think about it, you know what I'm saying, they stuck in their ways when it come to religion. You know what I'm saying? They like, it ain't working for y'all, so why should I go to church every Sunday? What it's going to do for me? You know, I've heard conversations, like Monique said, I've been, you know, exposed to certain conversations. They like, it ain't working for y'all, so what I'm going to church for every Sunday? Or, you know, I'm tithing, I don't see no return. What, you keep talking about this time, that religious thing that we automatically became accustomed to, or we accepted it. We just accepted it and just ran with it. You know what I'm saying? When we found out about it, we didn't have no right until we. But they off the top, they start questioning things. They questioning what's going on. They want to know. They have so many off the top. They ain't finna just go right into it. They're gonna question certain things before they do it.
Yeah, I agree.
I see that with this generation.
I mean, it just is what it is. Because you have to understand when you Well, I'll just say this, because we have so much coming at us from on this podcast. I mean, we have all difference of opinions, all different forms of judgment coming to us on this platform. And I feel like the millennials, or I don't know if it's the millennials, but it might be the generation up under them, our kids, they have so much coming at them from the generations above them that I got to take my hat off to them. It's like somebody constantly jugging at you. And if you don't feel like someone else's way is right, but you think that the way that however it came to you is right, and they ain't conform, I'm all right with it. Because at the end of the day, whether it's right or wrong, you don't know who got the answer to it. So if you don't feel like you need to conform, and you got people at you every day, all day saying conform, I take my hat off to you, because it's tough. At some point, people conform to what people want them to be. And I don't want nobody, and I teach my kids that. I don't care what's good for me. If it ain't good for you, then by all means, you do what the Lord leads you to do. Because you ain't got to be me. You walk your own lane.
Absolutely. Agree. You agree?
And I just think that we don't allow differences, because we feel like our way is the right way.
And that's how the generation before us kind of put that in us. You know what I'm saying? Our way is the right way, and that's how we became kind of accustomed to what they were doing, because that was what we was told. This way is the right way. But I think in our generation, we do allow them to explore.
Definitely.
I think
I do.
Yeah. But I see it a lot, because a lot of the kids is definitely not doing a lot of the things that we do. So I think we've allowed them to explore and try to figure out things on their own. And then, of course, society does have a lot to do with it. Even with the social media and stuff, there's a lot of stuff that goes on social media that they also can look at and figure out things along the way by watching social media as well. So they're getting a lot of their ideas and the way that they live their life based on what they're seeing on social media.
I think every generation has something. We just didn't have social media. They got social media.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we see it now, but I'm talking about because they're younger. Yeah. So we're just now getting it. You know what I'm saying? But they're growing up into it on social media.
I agree.
I think they're seeing, whether it's social media or TV, I think they're exposed to more negativity and stuff that we weren't exposed to. Like when we were coming up, our TV shows basically
Bill Cosby.
That was stuff that we strive to be like. They're striving to be Instagram models, and you know what I'm saying, because that's what they're seeing, which is negativity. But back in our days, we seen full families, the dad in the house, mom in the house. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no. I'm not saying anything wrong really with same sex, but
I was just finna say, because I don't know if it's
but really
negative.
Is it that negative? I mean, because that's what's popping now. If you think about it, all of that's what's
it is negative, because now their goals have changed. We used to, when we were coming up, we wanted to be doctors, lawyers, stuff that we seen on TV. Mm-hmm. Now their goals is to be an Instagram model, or you know what I'm saying, or.
But I'm telling you, my percentage, they get paid.
And all of that now is paying.
We ain't got to agree, Monique, is what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, if they're getting paid and that's what they want to do, then by all means, go head on. I don't care nothing about that. You want to be an Instagram model and you getting paid, by all means, go head on.
I'm addressing the differences in the generations.
But you refer to that as a negative, is what I'm saying.
It is. In my eyes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. We got that one.
You got something to say?
Well, we have comments coming in. Keona is joining us tonight.
Hi, Keona.
There are cousins that I don't mess with that I grew up around, but it's due to if I'm related to the way they are now. Do you understand what she's saying?
I understand that.
Okay. Keisha also made a comment. Naisha talks to everybody.
You a social butterfly? Like your auntie.
Also makes a comment that the parents let them get away with that disrespect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Hennessy also has another comment. She says, these generations have a sense of entitlement, whereas back in the day, respect was earned.
You better say it. They now, damn sure feel like they're entitled.
Just to be given.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And feel like you owe them something.
Yeah.
Keisha said, bump. Some of them fake-ass family members.
Next
this
comment.
Is exactly what we're talking about.
Next comment.
statement she made earlier was Mr. Petty
Yeah, I remember Mr. Petty.
had to spank her, not Mr. Perry. It was the autocorrect.
Mr. Perry, yeah.
So, thank you guys for joining us and continue to make your comments. We will read them out as we have
Absolutely.
continued throughout the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's y'all got something to say? Y'all wanted to add? Precious, you got nothing to say?
I say a lot of it with the way they're learning now has to do with the school, the way they learn. I think that now how school is structured, they're, guided to find out for themselves instead of just getting it out of a book. Getting it from what they know or they find out rather than going by
What somebody said.
tells them.
Exactly.
So they may see or hear bits and pieces and they put it all together to form their own opinion.
Yeah. And I can respect that because if they're learning that early on, and the only reason why I say that is because of my personal experience. Because like Keona was pointing out, it was kind of like you just kind of went with that what you were taught or what was being done with the elders before you. So you kind of went, well, at least for me, that's kind of what I went with. Definitely the family, how you're supposed to run your household, the church, and all of that. And life has showed me different. Well, I've never been the person to just take your word. Never. I ain't never been one to take your word. So I always done my own research. But I had to find that out on my own because people just the older generation expected you to just do whatever it is that they told you. So once I became of an age, it ain't about solely just doing what you told me to do. I had to separate the two without being disrespectful. I feel like this generation don't necessarily know how to separate the two without being disrespectful because I'm telling you that ain't working for me. I'm not going to do it. So for me, I just kind of did what I felt was best for me, and I let you keep your little comments to yourself.
I always thought it was like, if you don't stand for something,
Fall for anything. Exactly. But yeah, I just think it's very important. At least I thought it was very important for me to tell my kids, because I realized I wasn't right in all of my ways. So I definitely made some errors, even with, and in those ways where I thought I was right, and I didn't later find out that they were a little bit of an error, if you will. Even though I knew it was, the Lord allowed it, it still may not have been the better, well, that's kind of sticky, but definitely on the back end, the easiest route, if you will. But I told them everything that was given to me, I gave to them. So I just want to make sure that they make sure that they take the route that the Lord tells them, because my route that the Lord gave me was definitely not the one that they gave my grandparents, and I make sure that they're aware that it's not that same route, and I love them and respect them at the same time. But clearly, we can agree to disagree. Go ahead.
I didn't realize this subject was gonna make me angry because I'm sitting
angry.
I'm sitting here kind of boiling. That's why I'm keeping my mouth closed.
Well, what you boiling back?
Boy, let's get into it. Get into this. Yeah.
No, so we're talking about the differences. We talked about the differences. So, what's the battle? What's the bumping of the heads that we see in the generations? Do you think that we necessarily bump heads with the generation before us as our kids do with us? Do you think that we have more respect for the generation before us than our kids have with us?
You might want to ask Keona that question.
Why?
Right.
Because how I
Naisha,
feel
you
is,
want to answer that?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think the difference is the generation before y'all were more parent-like. They were more authoritative and were able to set an example for y'all versus the generation. Honestly, y'all did good as parents, so I ain't gonna knock y'all. So I'm gonna say my generation as parents. I can say specifically some of my friends and people who are my age or whatever. They seem more like their children's friends. They they go to the club with their kids. They Yeah, they're not really, I wouldn't even say like really good role models because
Yeah.
they don't even really have like nothing really established for themselves.
Yeah,
before
no
they
stability.
Actually, like,
Yeah.
get out here and start to reproduce and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the difference.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like y'all did good as parents, like y'all generation. But my generation,
Yeah.
we need to get it together. If y'all are in y'all 20s, if y'all was born in the 90s, we need to get it
That would be the. Let me see.
Post
That's the
millennium.
millennium.
honestly, like,
Post millennium. Yeah.
My friend, one of my friends was literally in the club with her mom, and I was like, I couldn't even imagine my mom being in the club.
Yeah.
Like, it was just.
I ain't going in there.
I cannot. So, we need to get it together. But I feel like that's the difference.
Yeah.
That was my little two.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your millennium? Not your millennium, but your generation.
Yeah.
In
the mic.
I
Yeah.
don't have that advice. I'm really bad.
You just
I
said
say
it. Get it together.
just like,
What works for you? Is it mentality?
What do you think
Whatever,
needs
gotta
to
speak from you.
change?
what needs to change? I don't know. Come back.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah, 'cause we don't want to force you to answer. I forgot your question, Mo. I forgot your question. Did you? Somebody else want to say something?
No, she didn't have a. Monique
Oh,
didn't have a
you
question.
come to
She
the
was
mic, baby.
boiling.
You don't know nothing need to change or nothing
yeah.
needs to change.
I said you need. That would be a better question for Keona.
Oh yeah.
I think I vaguely remember what your question was, and the reason why I said Keona because, as far as to respect for me, I think it's you would have to understand the individual before you could just judge them based upon what you see as disrespect. And I say that
I hate when me and Tonya had this conversation. This really gets under my skin.
pipe down.
Oh,
Those are differences.
I was like, well, what's going on over here? I felt my chair moving.
Well, let me explain this because she's definitely going to debate me on this because we don't agree. But, and that's okay. Because that's what we up here for.
Right.
We're here to have a conversation. But I remember a conversation that I had with my son. It was, I'm not going to go into details about what it was, but it was a conversation that I had with my son. Well, it's not a conversation, but it was an interaction that I had with him. And I felt like he was being disrespectful. I raised my kids to be very respectful. And also because I felt like when it came to my boys, I wanted them to make sure that they were intact with their heart, be emotional and all of that stuff. And
when you say you raised them to be respectful, what do you mean?
Hold on. And then, so I'll come right back to that more. And then, so as far as that's to make sure that if they were wrong, then they would come back to apologize, if you will. That would mean that you still got your morals intact. So come back and apologize if you felt like you was wrong. And he didn't particularly come to apologize to me on this instance, which made me feel like I needed to go give some correction, if you will. So when I went in there and I was like, well, why the heck you didn't apologize about what happened earlier? He was like, well, to be honest with you, I didn't feel like I was being disrespectful. And I was like, well, how you feel like you weren't being disrespectful? Because you did A, B, C, D, E. And he was like, he explained to me what A, B, C, D, E was from his perspective. And once he explained it to me from his perspective, clearly I could understand why he didn't think it was disrespectful. But when I explained it to him from my ABCD, it was disrespectful for me. But you cannot be mad at somebody if they do not feel like they are disrespectful, if they feel like they were being respectful. So I think it's a matter of understanding from where a person is communicating to you from. So that's why I make that comment. But go ahead, Mo. You asked me something else as far as to respect. I already told you we don't agree on a lot of different things.
But I get
What
that
do you
Tonya.
consider respect? What did you teach them? When you say you
I don't think it's no one set thing. It's
you
respect.
said you taught them to be respectful. What was that you taught
Well,
them?
I mean, just a label. I mean, because I don't know if I could just pinpoint a whole bunch of things, but definitely be respectful.
What
as
do
far
you feel
as
like
when
he
I'm
did that
speaking,
was disrespectful
he
that you taught him otherwise?
I want to say he likes to Tasha has a tendency to want to get the last word, and that means that if I say shut up, that means stop talking.
Okay, so if he don't, that's disrespectful.
That's what I said. I felt like it was
Okay,
being
but if he
disrespectful.
felt like that's not disrespectful.
No. That I said I wasn't getting into the details of the interaction that I had with him. But as far as I said, once he explained to me what it was, because that's just like me and you being debatable.
I can't go nowhere.
No.
It's just like me and you being. Why you so heated? You can't have a conversation
Girl,
without because it feel like
You
you're
know
trying
how
to impose.
when we talk about this conversation,
Right,
you know
but
how
can't-
it gets.
But I'm not going to allow you to impose your opinion upon me. So
I'm not. I ain't said my
But that's what I'm
opinion.
saying,
Next
but that's why
time
you so
I asked
heated.
you a question, trying to understand your opinion.
Okay. But I don't think you're trying to understand. I think you're trying to get me to understand more or less your
No,
side.
because I ain't said nothing. Have I? Have I said anything about
But you
my side?
But you're making it an issue to point out mine as something that's not.
I'm
what
trying to get you
want
to
to do.
understand
But
if
it's
you
okay
brought
for
your
us to-
kids up to if you brought your kids up one way, and when they get a certain age, they feel like, okay, I'm gonna do the opposite, and I don't feel like it's wrong because this is how I feel, and you think that that's okay.
I absolutely think it's okay.
Okay, that's you.
Yeah, because I just told you I'm very big on you walking the lane that the Lord wants you to walk. And I'm okay with being able to look at it from your perspective is what I'm telling you. So I'm absolutely okay with that. It may have been what worked for me, and that's maybe how I raised you. But if it's not working for you, because I changed. I don't operate like how my grandparents do. That don't work for me.
But where's the line drawn though? 'Cause there's
Please come
As
to the
far as
mic.
the what?
Please come to the mic.
Respect.
As far as the what?
I feel I said, guys, hi everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This is Aisha. I said, where's the line drawn? Because I feel like there's a way to where both of y'all can get what y'all want. Like if he grown is one way, that's one thing, and then you being his mom, there's still a line of respect. So if he feel a certain way, but you being his mom, if y'all are arguing, he might feel like him getting the last word is like what's right, and then you feel the opposite way, but he still gotta respect you as his mom.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I was just asking like,
Oh,
where's
yeah.
the line drawn? Like, because he might think something is okay, but it just might be way over the top, and then
Yeah.
like,
I mean, well, there is a line that, because he may still want to have the last word, but being the parent, clearly you know you got the last word. You know, it's mama, it's what I say, so shut up. Now, unless, we want to take it to another level. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at you for trying to make your point, because I feel like kids can't even make a point because we feel like everything that we say is right. No, it's what I said. I said what I said, and ain't nothing else need to be talked about.
And that's
So
what I
I
was
feel
gonna
like
say
it's
earlier.
at some point they got to fight to be heard.
I get that because, growing up from the generation prior, to us, our generation, it was their way or no way, period. Our voice was never heard. So I kind of get that to a certain extent, but I also understand what you're saying too. Where is the median? You know what I'm saying? How do, you put that authority and say, no, this is not acceptable, period. I don't care what your perspective is on this. It's unacceptable.
Well, I don't want y'all to understand, because I feel like y'all getting the impression like there was not a line in the sand with my son. There was a line in the sand with my son, period, pointblank.com. But at the end of the day, like I just said, how are you ever going to be heard if you have a difference of opinion with someone that you respect? That's your mama, and that means that whatever mama say goes. At some point, you got exactly how you say it. So when you now having a conversation without an argument, because this was not an argument, I went to him and asked him why he did not apologize. I want to know why you ain't because I felt disrespected, and I need to be apologized to. So now we're having a conversation where you can explain to me why you reacted the way that you reacted. So this was a conversation. So once you tell me, I'm like, well, dang, I wasn't looking at it from that way. I can now understand from his perspective, and I wasn't so much that I even need to agree, but I understood. Period. Point blank. But what you gonna do concerning me, because at the same time, they may not have been disrespectful to you, it may have been disrespectful to me, so you're gonna need to know how to communicate with the person who you in front of. So it may have been disrespectful to you, not you, but you're gonna respect me and my boundaries, is what I'm telling him. However you communicate with your friends, if that's okay with your friends or whomever else you communicate, then you have at it.
So y'all got that?
Differences in the generations.
Or even differences in the same generation, because clearly me and Monique don't agree to some things, because it's not just a generation against a generation. As you can see here, you don't even agree with some people that's in your same generation.
Battle.
Yeah.
The battle of the generations.
Yeah.
Within the generation.
And I just think everybody just needs to be heard is the point that I'm making. Because I don't agree with a lot of the junk, because I don't want you to feel like I agree. And I just realized that I don't have to agree.
And that's important. Communication is important. Communication is important. You definitely want to be able to hear what people are saying, because everybody has a different perspective, and a different opinion on things. And if you always voicing your opinion and never listening to the other individual, then how are you going to know, how to handle situations with that person if you can't never hear their side of the story or hear how they feel or hear their perception of it?
Exactly.
So even a child, even your own child needs to be heard,
I agree.
So, I definitely understand, to a certain extent.
Yeah, because you can have respect for people in their face and be doing everything behind their back. Everything just because I do. At the end of the day, I don't think my grandparents want me to drink or smoke or curse at all. But got doggone shows, as soon as I'm out of their presence, Tonya gonna do what Tonya want to do. That's cuss, smoke, drink, whatever it is that they may feel like I'm not doing. But the fact that I'm in their presence and I know that they don't want it done in their presence, I won't do it in their presence. It's a matter of respect. But you don't tell me how to live my life. It's mine.
I'm good. I'm good. I had 1,000 things to say. I don't even remember. I'm over here just rocking.
Rocking.
Well, then I'll take this time to read some more comments.
Go ahead.
Akila. Hi, Keona. There should be a median. But if your kids can't talk to you and still express themselves without considering it disrespect, that's still a problem. Jennifer also commented, perception is the reality. So you have to understand what a person perceives that you are saying.
I agree.
This is my question. If you have been taught that this is disrespectful, when you get to a certain age, when you're so-called grown now, why do you think that's no longer disrespectful?
Because maybe you got to allow people to experience that. Because people are going to experience junk regardless of what we want them to experience. And experience, fortunately, is the best teacher. And their experience may have taught them that your way ain't the best way.
This ain't about nobody's way.
But it is. Experience have taught them something different.
This is disrespectful, not only to me, but to adults, period. You can't go through life thinking that you're going to get the last word or talking back to people. You can't do that because these police will put you in your place. We taught our children to live a certain way, to have respect for certain individuals, because when I'm not there, if you don't have that respect, they're going to make you have that respect for them. And it's going to put them in a situation that they ain't going to be able to get out of. And then they're going to go back to, okay, because I'm grown, I ain't got to do this and I ain't got to talk like this, but I done taught you this. So it's not okay because you think that you're grown that I can lose this respect, or I can say what I want to say, how I want to say it, I can get the last word. No, that's not what I taught you, because at the end of the day, I'm not teaching you to respect me. I'm teaching you how to respect elders. I'm teaching you how to respect them police when they're in your face. You got boys. They can't have the last word with the police. That's what I'm saying. So it ain't about your perception. It ain't about what he thinks. This is about what's right.
Well, first
what
of all,
might save your life.
That's a whole different.
Let her go. Let her go.
That's a whole different, because now she's coming for me in a certain type of way. At some point, there's a whole different conversation that I have with my sons when it comes to them being black males, and definitely when it comes to authority. And and on another point, again, is what you consider disrespectful. If that's what they were taught growing up, that this is respect, but they have learned something different per their experience, by all means, I don't give a darn. Rock with it. We ain't going to agree with that. Pure point blank. And I don't think that you can speak for a whole generation as far as to what they consider respect and disrespect, because you can't speak for me. What you consider disrespect or respect is not disrespectful or respectful to me. I don't even think of junk as disrespect or disrespectful, to be honest with you. I don't even really like to use the terms. It's how I want to be dealt with at some point. But I don't like the disrespect or the disrespectful terms, to be honest with you. You had something.
Got a lot going on back there in the background.
I think Keisha probably want to say something. Yes, ma'am. Hold on. I knew she had something to say. Hold on. Sorry, we got to call her. You on speaker.
I don't know.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, girl.
Can y'all hear her out there? Yeah, we can hear you.
Let me go ahead and diffuse this situation. We did teach our kids certain things coming up. But just like Tonya said, just because we taught it to them, don't make it right, don't make it wrong. You might have been right, Monique, on what you taught your children or whoever. Tonya, you might have been right on what you taught your kids or whoever. But they like to be rebellious, just like we did. So them doing what they want to do and going against the grain on what we said is just what they do. Sometimes they got to learn the hard way. But they're not going to do it just because we told them to do it. As a matter of fact, they probably not going to do it because we told them to do it. Okay?
We hear you.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's all I got to say.
Yes,
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
You say that's all I
I
got
fully
to say.
agree with everything that she said, but she wanted to make sure that she wanted to be heard.
She ain't feel like typing all that. She ain't feel like texting all that, but I'm gonna call y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got that?
Yeah. What you got to say?
Even when you are right, you have to humble yourself at times. But Monique, even when women have to shut up, even women have to shut up when it comes to the police. Sandra Blaine.
Yeah.
This is a comment from General.
I didn't get that because I wasn't just saying boys, but okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
What's that?
Are we done?
We have 5 more minutes. 5 minutes, ladies, to recap.
Mm-hmm. What you got to say?
I don't have any recaps, but I did want to touch on marriages because the difference in marriages is a little different from generation to generation. I see where the baby boomers' marriages are lasting much longer than this generation, and even the generation under us ain't even really getting married, really.
Yeah.
So
Got a big point though.
what's going on with that? What y'all think how the ball done dropped on that one?
I think we saw that they marriage on the last because they
were
put up
putting
with a
up
lot
all
of
that
shit,
stuff.
and then our kids said, "I ain't putting up with none of that,
Yeah.
so I ain't even getting married. What's the point of getting married if I got to put up with
all
that?"
of that, so that's how I did.
Yeah. Really? Really?
Do what? What Naisha say?
They pay to break up. I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you go. Them the generational difference.
That's it. Bottom line.
I personally think it's sticky when you talk about generation, because to each his own. I think a marriage is a household thing. We like to clump them together, but it's a household thing. So it at the end of the day, it boils down to what didn't work for that home. Now, I do realize that there may be some issues with conformity in those individual homes that may not be
I learned a new
working.
word last week, and God damn,
And,
she done said it about 12 times. She done got the definition last week. Go ahead.
And girl, you is too much on this damn show today. For real.
Say cheese.
I don't feel like saying cheese because you making me not be in the cheese moment.
Say cheese, good.
So
We ain't gonna
but
always
at the
agree.
end of the day, exactly.
We're
But
gonna
you're
have-
the only
we're
person who
gonna-
have a problem with not agreeing. Is what I'm saying. Because you're the one over there fuming.
Keona, will you finally wrap us up with the generation,
But as far as the marriage is what I was saying, I think it's an issue with conformity at the end of the day in their marriages, as far as what people think a marriage should be. Because in my marriage, there is an issue with I need to be a certain type of wife. He needs to be a certain type of husband. And that's clearly not working for us, but we didn't realize that it ain't working for us. So we can't come to what is going to work for us, which may cause us to end in divorce. I don't necessarily think it might go that way, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm dealing with in my marriage.
Right. So it's all about differences in marriages then.
Absolutely. People imposing.
Right. I get it. I definitely get it.
But whether you get it or
Yeah.
not, it is what it is.
Oh.
No, No, but I'm
So
just
you guys
saying,
make
I
sure
wasn't- it
you
wasn't no
share
jab, but I'm just
share
saying,
this
but you did it.
video. Make sure you go on our Facebook page to Spoken with Purpose, and like our page. Also go on to Instagram, Spoken with Purpose, the number 3, and then go on our YouTube page, Spoken with Purpose Podcast. Make sure you share, like, follow, and help us to spread the word.
Is that it? We done? We done, y'all.
Suggestions on topics, come in and sit in the audience. Please make sure you reach out to us. Also, do y'all remember the phone number? Okay. Well, go on our page and look for the phone number and call us. Leave us a message and let us know what you want us to talk about.
Suggestions.
I chose my words and I always spoke with purpose. I'ma speak my mind until they close the curtains. Look deep inside before you judge the surface. Look in my eyes and read between the lines. My soul is searching. Chosen, gotta focus. They notice Tonya, Keona, and Monique. Action, no bragging, no boasting. Facts with no capping. They hold it down. Envision these words and use them as power. The enemy lurking. I'm calling my spirit, and if it can hear me, it's spoken with purpose.